And I have clients who work even at, even community levels that are they're coming with very similar experiences, especially Black women, in spaces where they are having to experience microaggressions, but then turn around and people expect Black women to be the nurturers, also of certain things, which, there are lots of reasons, Black women have been seen as nurturers a long time from slavery on up, been nurturing everybody, everyone's, even master's children, along with everyone else. So sometimes being thrust in roles because of what people's ideas are that they should be. There have been a lot of people who are just at this right now. They're tired of code switching. They're tired of being strong Black women. They're tired of being strong Black men. People want space to just exist and to be. And so I have seen a lot more people willing to speak or, kind of step out from where they had normally tried to kind of, as Dr. Young said, kind of wear the mask. So now that they're uncovering it, it is a lot different. It's a lot different because Black people are taking their mental wellness a lot more seriously now, I think, than I've seen in years past.
Yeah. So, just as a reminder, now we are due to wrap up. We have about 8 minutes left in order to end at 8 o'clock. So, I do see three questions here. We'll see if we can get through those. But just as a reminder to everybody, this has been a fantastic conversation. Really appreciate everybody chiming in. So, I'm actually going to tackle this one along with you all, just because I can see that there is, sort of a medical bend to this, like MD medical bend in that sense. So, my PCP recently referred me to a neurologist based on some recent, more acute issues with restlessness, frequent headaches, loss of focus, and temporary balance issues, etc. What are some specific questions I should ask the neurologist and or specific information I should expect to receive that ensures that I'm getting the right diagnosis and possible treatment? So, I think this is actually kind of an interesting question because a lot of people don't recognize that there is a lot of overlap between neurology and psychiatry, which, goes hand in hand with mental health. In fact, in medical school curriculums, the two are taught together because there's a lot of overlap. And that being said, there's a lot of overlap, period, with how you're feeling mentally and how that may manifest in your body physically. So, it's not far fetched to consider this question or ask this question because I think that when you don't realize that people are sometimes surprised when they go to their medical doctor, whatever specialist it may be, and they walk away with a psychiatric or a mental health diagnosis. And that can sometimes cause you to feel like you're dismissed, when in fact, the reality is there can be a lot of overlap. So, what I would say as a doctor, but not a mental health provider, is I think one, just make sure that you feel like you're being heard. Make sure that you feel like you have an opportunity to truly explain the symptoms that you're experiencing, and that those are being received. That you're not being cut off. You have a chance to fully express yourself, and that you feel like you have a connection with that physician. I think that people often feel rushed and not heard. And generally speaking, you can figure out if that's happening. And similar to what has been mentioned before, if you feel like that is happening, then don't give up on yourself or your diagnosis. Simply find a different clinician. But I would say that, going into this, that is, those are going to be the key things you're going to want to try to figure out. Are you being heard? Are you having a chance to fully express yourself? Do you feel as though you're being dismissed? But I would also say keep an open mind to what may be suggested because as it turns out there can be overlap between physical symptoms and psychological or mental health things, and some of the things that have been mentioned here like restlessness and frequent headaches and loss of focus, those are things that can actually be symptoms of mental health conditions. So that's not to say that that's what's happening, but it's just to help you to understand that that's why sometimes it does require having an open mind about what you're being told. And, I think that we all have some level of intuition. And so if you feel as though your intuition is telling you that that's right or not right, go with it to some extent. And certainly, consider seeking out someone else to kind of verify the things that you may have heard. But, from a mental health perspective, given that overlap, do you guys have anything else to add?
I kind of want to tag on this, Dr. Young, in that we have to think that mental health is a treatment system, or you can have mental health challenges across the lifetime. And that's why when we train in mental health as nurses, there's childhood specific problems, there's young adults, adolescents, yes, and also the older adult. I mean, I can talk about this a little bit from what I've seen in my family, is that, and some of us have seen it in our own families as well. Um, Closer to in the older adult, yes, neurological symptoms, i.e., dementia, may mask itself as depression. Um, it may mask itself as extreme anxiety. And that's where the psychiatric piece comes in. I think one of the things we have to encourage people to do is just kind of just address the symptoms. I think the big stigma is people don't want to be labeled, but um, it's not about being labeled really. If somebody can fix or address your issues, then that's what we're trying to get done. We're trying to solve, solve the problem. So, addressing symptoms and getting people better is the bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, then at this point, it's 7:58. So I think we're going to have to entertain one other question. And in order in which they came, it would be the one that came from the chat, which is, as men, we're often conditioned to be the rock for our families and communities. When you are everyone else's support system, how do you open up and find support for yourself without feeling like you're falling or failing in your role?
To tag on that, I think you have to use the resources. Um, Dr. Weaver mentioned it earlier as well. And, first of all, most jobs are most employers have EAP resources. Most insurance companies are more insurance health plans, which I think we don't utilize the mental health services that our insurance plans offers. And a lot of times, if we actually look at it and look at the resource that you have with your health insurance that you can seek confidentially, it's probably a lot of services that you don't know that you have, and it just takes going to that therapy and kind of stepping out and actually seeking that confidential support system that's out there. A lot of it is more, it's more than what you think. If somebody is needing help.
And real quick, I just wanted to add too, I think it's changing your mindset, and that can be difficult at times, especially as a Black man, in the sense of perspective that you're human just like everybody else. You bleed just like everyone else, and giving yourself grace, and that you can't continue to be everyone else's support system and be at 100% when you're not. Ultimately, you're gonna, fail everyone else because your cup is empty. And so you have to make sure that sometimes we do have to be selfish, but in a good way, in the sense of setting up boundaries for ourselves and those people around you, your loved ones, if they respect you, they're going to respect your boundaries. And you're doing that so that you can continue to be that support system, right? But you got to make sure that you're doing that for yourself too, and giving yourself grace that even though you have been conditioned through generational family, how our families have, raised us. I think it's important to remember that you can always stop the cycle. You don't have to use the excuse that, well, this is how I was raised, this is what we do, but the cycle can always stop with you. And just reminding yourself and changing that mindset is going to be the most important thing, and just having that self-awareness that you're human. You're human just like everyone else. And if you are a Christian and you believe in God, that God made you just like everyone else, and it's okay to ask for help. So
Well, with that, I will say that we will come to a or this comes has comes to a has come to a conclusion. Excuse me. And thank you so very much. I just want to give I know it's not quite the same as being there in person, but to give a round of applause to each of you as our panelists. Thank you for providing your insight. Thank you for providing your time. I think that this has been very helpful for us, and really, I just want to accomplish the goal of increasing awareness because it's the kind of thing that I think we need to be talking about more. And now having a month that is dedicated to this gives us that opportunity. So thank you to each of you for, as I said, your expertise and your time tonight. And for anyone, some of our panelists are local, some of them are not. But they are a wealth of information. And so, if anyone here is interested in being able to connect with them, professionally, then reach out to us, through Xi Alpha Lambda, and I'd be more than happy to pass along contact information for them. As was mentioned, some of them have YouTube channels and are on social media and have companies. And so, just a wealth of resources. And we just thank you very much for everything that you provided for us tonight. And, to those who are participating, spread the word, be a shoulder for somebody to lean on, if they need that listening ear, and to be able to, direct somebody to sometimes just be the sounding board or the voice of reason to be able to direct somebody to go and get help if they need it. Because we need more of us around, more of us strong in will and mind in order to be able to accomplish all the things that our life has for us. So with that, I will say good night. Thank you again, everybody. Take care.